Hello, Rebel, and welcome back to my life. Alright, so if you caught last week's video, you know that today's is going to be unscripted and a little bit disjointed, and I apologize for that, but here we go. Today, I want to talk to you about my latest book, Hellskin. Here's the cover. Honestly, my main job in this video, the only standard I'm holding myself to, is to not sound completely bored and disinterested in my own book. 'Cause I'm not. I'm very excited about it. It's just a rather difficult time for all of us right now. It's just hard in this year of our COVID 2020 to maintain outward appearances of excitement and happiness, no matter how actually excited or happy about something you are. So as you're watching this, Hellskin should be in its last final stages of editing before I send it off to my copy editor, Garrett. And that means that I'm wrestling with the nittiest and the grittiest parts of this book. I am slavering over word choice. I am spending hours and maybe sleepless nights focusing on whether this sentence should be a compound sentence or two separate sentences. In other words, I'm in probably what is the least fun part of any book. Revisions and all that sort of stuff, it's work. And don't get me wrong, it's all work. This is my job. I try to treat it all like work. I try to stick to a schedule and get in the chair and put the hours in and everything like that. But a lot of the work of writing a book doesn't feel like work to me. This definitely does. And so I guess one good objective that I want to try to accomplish with this video that I think would be a worthwhile objective is to remind myself why I'm actually pretty stoked about this book. And I think I like it a lot, and I think you're going to like it too. The first big reason. This is the third book, the end of the first trilogy of the Tales of the Wanderer series. If you are familiar with the works of Underrealm, you know that the Tales of the Wanderer series is this strange mixture of a show like Supernatural or Buffy the Vampire Slayer and The Princess Bride. It is somebody telling a story about events that happened in the past, where they and their best friend were like supernatural monster hunters traversing kingdoms and saving villages and people from the darkest creatures that plague the wilderness. And to be honest, I love it. I love it so much. I love this series. It's not an exaggeration, and I hope that it does not come across as an insult to anything else that I've written to say that the Tales of the Wanderer is my own personal favorite series that I've written. And it has my favorite moments in all of the Underrealm books. My single favorite moment is in this series, and like 2 or 3 of my other top favorite moments are in these books. This series has also kicked my ass. So the book that I wrote right before Tales of the Wanderer was Yeren, the 6th book in the Nightblade epic, and that came out in September of 2017. And then I immediately started working on the Tales of the Wanderer series. Now, I kind of did this weird thing where I was really working on like book 1 and 2, Bloodlust and Stoneheart, like kind of at the same time. Like those two books are very, very closely interlinked, and they are interlinked with the third one as well, but I was actually like working on both books at the same time. And that resulted in an extended production schedule, longer than I wanted it to be anyway. And Bloodlust, the first book in the series, didn't come out until September of 2018. In fact, it just barely missed like going over the year mark. So Yeren came out at like the end of September of 2017, and Bloodlust came out at the beginning of September 2018, and that was because I was really pushing to hit that deadline. Because I had never taken a year to write an Underrealm book before that. And that just seemed like ridiculous to me, and I was like, no, I'm not going to let a year pass without... So anyway, and then I was working on Stoneheart at the same time, as I said, and I did manage to get that out later the same year. So book 1 and 2 came out about 2 months apart. It was September and then November, and boom, that was wonderful. That was nice. I had 2 books out. Now here we are in 2020, and I have not published a book since then. It's not that Hellskin has taken me 2 years. It hasn't. If you've been around, you know that I was working on audiobooks for like all of 2019, but Hellskin has this book series, it's been kicking my ass. There's really no other way to put it. All of which is to say, as stressful as writing a book is, and as much as I am buried in the least fun part of the writing process right at this moment in time, I am very excited to have Hellskin done and out there and in your hands where you can read it, and where this first trilogy has really wrapped up in what I think is an awesome way. This is a somewhat unfortunate comparison, but to me, the Tales of the Wanderer series is a little bit like my novel Rebel Yell that I wrote right before I started writing the Books of Underrealm. Rebel Yell was a novel that was very important to me. It said a lot of important things that I wanted to say, and I really wanted to spend the time to make it right and exactly the way that I was, like to the letter, every word perfect. And in some ways, at least until I started working on Tales of the Wanderer, Rebel Yell was like always my favorite book that I'd ever written. It was something that I felt like was this sort of new high plateau of artistic skill that I had reached. It also took me 10 months, just like working on nothing else, just to write that book, which was like, that doesn't sound like a long time to a lot of people, but for me, that was a really, really long time. Especially since I couldn't afford, like, I was not making enough money to take 10 months to write a book full time. I just wasn't. So it was a very stressful time. I was not doing well mentally. I was not doing well in a lot of ways. And there I was still working on this book. But I was really, really proud of the result. It didn't ever take off. I never sold many copies of Rebel Yell. A lot of people who read it, it really resonated with them in a very important way. Tales of the Wanderer is a lot like that. I've now been working on this book series for 3 years. So that's 3 years of working on 3 books. That's longer than it took me to write Rebel Yell. And Tales of the Wanderer has not been as successful as Nightblade. I mean, I'm not going to get into like sales numbers or whatever, but it has not succeeded to the degree that Nightblade has or the Academy journals have. I'm kind of okay with that because it's a really important story to me. And a lot of the people who have read it have said that it is their favorite Underrealm book, or it is the most important book to them that I've written. And that means a lot more to me. I am taking a break after this one. I'm going to go write, more Underrealm books. I've got one book in another series, and then I'm going back to writing Nightblade, and I'm like really looking forward to that. And then I write the Academy journals, and I'm really looking forward to that. But then I get to come back to Tales of the Wanderer. And I'm really looking forward to that too. As I go through these edits, as I spend as much time as I think I can to make this book as good as I think I can, I want to remember the really, really long road that it's taken me to get here. And I want to try to envision a better way to do this in the future, a faster road so that it doesn't take me 3 years to write 3 books, But at the same time, I'm trying really hard to appreciate what I have done. I'm trying to appreciate the quality of the product, even if the quantity and the speed of production isn't exactly where I would like it to be. Because even as we look at where we might have fallen down or where we might not have lived up to our own expectations or desires for ourselves, I think it's really important to acknowledge when we've also done something pretty extraordinary. And that is all I've got for you today, Rebel. I want to give an extra special shout out to my supporters on Patreon who make this and all of my YouTube videos possible. If you want to be one of those awesome and incredibly attractive individuals, click on the Patreon link down below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next Friday. Bye!